Like many other African countries, the Republic of Mozambique has for the past 40 years experienced numerous problems ranging from a civil war, displacement of its people, to natural calamities like flash floods, which created instability in that country. The civil strife dates back to the time when Mozambique was partly under the control of the Portuguese government before it attained its independence in 1975. In 1962, some exiled activists opposed to Portuguese colonial power met in Tanzania to form an organization which came to be called the Mozambique Liberation Front, Frelimo, headed by Eduardo Mondlane. The Frelimo forces launched a guerrilla war for independence against Portuguese rule, resulting in the rebel group taking control of much of north of Mozambique. Following the change of government in Portugal in 1974, the new Portuguese government backed the self-independence of its colonies, a development that saw the departure of over 250,000 Portuguese inhabitants from Mozambique. Frelimo, under Samora Machel, the country's first president, came to power with strong socialist ideals and focused on rapid development, which initially made considerable progress in sectors such as health and education, respectively. However, shortly after Mozambique gained independence on 25 June 1975, the country was plunged into a long and bitter civil war from 1977 to 1992 between the rebel forces known as the Mozambican National Resistance Movement, Renamo, and the ruling regime under Frelimo. During that conflict, an estimated 1 million Mozambicans perished, while 1.7 million took refuge in other neighboring states, and several millions more were internally displaced. The civil war in Mozambique came to an end in 1992 when the Frelimo and Renamo signed the Rome General Peace Accord. Despite the ceasefire, Renamo rebranded into a political movement, but still returned arms, with hundreds of its militias stationed in barracks, launching sporadic attacks on the citizens in various locations. In a bid to facilitate long-lasting peace, Mozambique's neighbors and the global community pressed on with their mediation efforts aimed at completely healing the country from the impact of the civil war. On 6th August 2019, the Frelimo-led government of Mozambique and the opposition Renamo finally reconciled and signed an election and peace agreement meant to put to an end the longest political battle ever witnessed on the African continent.
Southern Africa is a region that has known peace for quite some time. So the resumption of hostilities between Renamo and Frelimo in 2014 showed some bad signs and bad trends. Likely the two sides began on a new peace process altogether. I was invited to serve as an expert mediator on the mediation commission, of which there were 2 Renamo representatives and 2 Frelimo representatives, and Professor Ndulo also served on that commission as a technical expert. So we had 2 Zambians working on both sides, Renamo, Professor Ndulo, I, Frelimo, and our role actually was to make the 2 parties reach an agreement, because what Renamo wanted was centralization, inclusion, so they could have administration in some of the provinces in which they had some strength. But that required amending the constitution, agreeing on the amendments, and my role was to reach an agreement on the amendments to the constitution and then to make those amendments and constitutionalize them. And broadly the amendments were accepted and passed by the Mozambican parliament last year, I think between March and April. After that, it was the Military Affairs Commission, which perhaps drew on the success of the Decentralization Commission. That was a precondition. So Renamo wanted that aspect. What Frelimo wanted, on the other hand, was the mobilization, reintegration of Renamo. So the peace agreement that was signed last week was essential about how Renamo is going to demobilize, how Renamo officers are going to be reintegrated in the Frelimo military, and also what will happen to some of the Renamo fighters in terms of social rehabilitation. So the agreement now on military affairs as well as decentralization has been reached, and this day is to commemorate the peace agreement as a whole.
The official signing ceremony of the election and peace accord took place at the Peace Square in the capital, Maputo. Heads of state and leaders from various countries and hundreds of Mozambicans witnessed the historic signing ceremony, which is expected to halt further armed hostilities in Mozambique. Zambia played a major role in Mozambique's independence dating back to 1974, when the country brokered a peace accord between the Portuguese government and the Frelimo under the Lusaka Accord. And President Edgar Lungu was among the heads of state and government and other dignitaries who witnessed the latest peace agreement signing ceremony in Mozambique. In his capacity as the Southern Africa Development Community SADC chairperson for the Organ on Politics, Defense and Security, the Zambian head of state took to the podium not only to congratulate the two parties, but also to assure them of the support from the regional body, SADC.
The signing of the peace agreement is expected to enhance peace and stability, not only in Mozambique, but also in the SADC region and the African continent at large. Your Excellencies, allow me at this juncture to salute you, my dear brother, for your relentless efforts in initiating the political dialogue and ensuring that the process achieved its objective, which we are all proud to witness today. The approach in resolving the political conflict in a peaceful manner with the main opposition Renamo is an indication of your outstanding leadership, which I am personally very proud to be associated with. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, let me also commend the main opposition Renamo for resolving to address its political differences with the government through political dialogue. Renamo has demonstrated that all disputes, all differences, no matter their magnitude, can be resolved in a peaceful manner. Allow me to acknowledge the commitment of the departed Renamo leader, Mr. Afonso Dhlakama, who agreed to the political dialogue. I am certain that the late Mr. Dhlakama will forever remain part of this historic occasion. Similarly, I wish to congratulate General Retired Osufo Momade Renamo leader, for his unwavering commitment to continue with the peace process after assuming the party leadership. Your Excellencies, as chairperson of the SADC organ on politics, defense and security, I wish to urge the people of Mozambique to rally behind the government and Renamo to ensure that the agreement is fully implemented. At the same time, I wish to urge all member states in the region and beyond to support Mozambique to fully honor the peace agreement on definitive peace for the betterment of the people of the Republic of Mozambique, indeed the region and the entire African continent.
Other heads of state from the region and representatives of the regional and continental bodies also congratulated Mozambique and welcomed the election and peace agreement between the Frelimo-led government and Renamo.
Today marks a glorious triumph for the people of Mozambique and the continent at large. For this day you say no to violence. This is the day you chose peace to prevail over conflict. And this is the day you hold hands and march forward towards the shared ideals of peace, development, and prosperity. My dear brothers, you have invited us to witness this peace. If you should decide to go to war, you must invite all of us again. We'll tell you no.
I urge the international community and the private sector to take advantage of this atmosphere of peace and reconciliation to invest in the ongoing national reconstruction and rehabilitation efforts in Mozambique. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome the necessary security measures the government is taking to combat terrorism and transnational organized crimes. Mozambique is not alone in the fight against these menaces. The African Union Commission stands ready to support national and regional efforts. As you all know, peace, security, and sustainable development are our top priorities in the continent to achieve the Africa we want. Therefore, I welcome the signing of this peace agreement. Indeed, the upcoming signing on August 17th, the political agreement in Sudan, is a strong reinforcement of our flagship project of silencing the guns, which is the theme of the year 2020.
The signing of this agreement here today will pave a way for peaceful elections in Mozambique. As members of SADC, we will continue to respect and encourage the democratic processes and henceforth put emphasis on the importance of economic and social integration of the region and the African continent.
This achievement matters to all of us in Africa. It shows that we can find solutions to our problems, no matter how protracted and difficult. Dialogue and inclusion cannot be imposed from anywhere else, and once consensus is reached, it can only be sustained from within.
Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi and Renamo leader Osofo Momadei, who signed the electoral and peace accords on behalf of their parties, also made public commitments towards the full implementation of the new peace deal. It was a joyous day in Maputo as people from the two once bitter rival parties, the governing Frelimo and the opposition Renamo, sat at the same square to witness the historic signing ceremony of the peace agreements.
We are happy because the war now is finished. We can build our country and we can live, we can move friendly. We can talk with other members of the party. I mean the party Frelimo members. It's our brother. We are brother too. So we are celebrating today the peace, the definitely peace in our country.
Me too. I'm very happy, and all my family. Yeah, nice to finish war in Mozambique. Yeah, so I'm very happy. There's no one other thing can explain. Happy, and then we need peace for all, for forever.
The signing of a peace accord in Mozambique is expected to mark the return of peace and national unity to that country, as the armed conflict between the government security forces on one hand and Renamo militia on the other end finally came to a passing phase. Meanwhile, President Lungu, who welcomed the peace accord between the warring parties in Mozambique, held formal meetings with his Mozambican counterpart at State House. The Zambian head of state later conferred with former Tanzanian President Jakaya Kikwete at Polana Serena Hotel in the capital, Maputo. The president returned to Zambia on the 7th of August 2019.